Hey, basketball fans, welcome back to Tips and Streams, your go-to spot for the hottest NBA regular season predictions. I'm Kokan, and I'm here to break down today's matchups and give you the edge you need to make the best bets. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. Your support means the world to us. Remember, our channel has no sponsors and relies solely on the love and support of viewers like you. Even a small donation by pressing the thanks button under the video helps us keep bringing you top-notch content every day. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and fellow basketball enthusiasts. And we love hearing from you, so drop a comment below and let us know what you want to see in our forecasts. Your feedback helps us improve and bring you the content you crave. Let's jump right into today's NBA predictions. We've got some exciting games lined up, so stay tuned and let's get that winning streak going.
Today we have predictions for 6 NBA games. The first prediction for today is for a game between the San Antonio Spurs and Indiana Pacers. This matchup between the San Antonio Spurs and Indiana Pacers in Paris has all the makings of a fascinating clash, and I'm here for it. On one side, we have the Spurs, a team clearly going through the motions, struggling to find consistency, and hanging onto their postseason hopes by a thread. On the other, the Pacers are riding high, looking like one of the hottest teams in the league. It's a classic case of two teams heading in completely opposite directions. Let's start with the Spurs. Man, this team has been rough lately. They're sitting at 19-22, and the vibes aren't exactly great. They've dropped 3 straight, and their defense? It's been practically non-existent. You just can't win games when you're letting the other team light up the scoreboard every night. And yet, here they are, still scrapping. That's the thing about San Antonio. There's a lot of heart in the squad, but they're young, and it shows. Victor Wembanyama has been their saving grace, and honestly, without him, they'd probably be sitting at the bottom of the standings. The kid is special, 24.4 points, 10.8 boards a game. In his rookie year? That's wild. Playing in front of a Paris crowd that's going to adore him could light a fire under him, but even he can't do it all alone. What's really hurting the Spurs is the absence of Greg Popovich. Losing your legendary head coach to a health scare mid-season? That's tough. Pop's presence on the sidelines is irreplaceable, and while Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes are trying to steer the ship with their veteran leadership, it's just not enough. Paul's been doing his thing, playing that coach-on-the-floor role and dishing out dimes like only he can, but you need more than experience to win games. The rest of the Spurs core, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sochan, Keldon Johnson, has potential, but none of them are stepping up as that second star to Wembanyama. They've been too inconsistent, and that's why this team is stuck in neutral. On the flip side, the Pacers are on fire right now. They're 24-19 and looking every bit like a team that belongs in the upper echelon of the East. They've won 8 of their last 9 games, and they're not just squeaking by, they're dominating. This squad has found its groove, especially on the defensive end, which is a bit surprising given their history. Rick Carlisle has them playing disciplined basketball, and when you combine that with their offensive firepower, it's a deadly mix. Indiana's got weapons all over the place. Tyrese Halliburton hasn't been as electric as he was last season, but he's still a game changer. Sure, he's been a little inconsistent, but he's shown flashes of brilliance, and when he's locked in, he's a problem for any defense. Then you've got Pascal Siakam and Benedict Mathurin doing work on both ends, chipping in 20 points a night and keeping defenses honest. Miles Turner's been a beast, stretching the floor with his 3-point shooting and swatting shots like it's nobody's business. And let's not forget TJ McConnell, who's been an absolute spark plug off the bench, giving them that extra push when they need it. This game feels like it's going to come down to momentum versus emotion. The Spurs will have the crowd on their side, and you know Wembanyama is going to feed off that energy. He's playing in his home country, and you can bet he's going to want to put on a show. But the Pacers? They've got the form, the balance, and the confidence that comes with winning. They're also the healthier team, which is a big deal when you're playing on a stage like this. If I'm being real, I've got to ride with the Pacers in this one. They've been on a roll, and their depth is going to be the difference maker. The Spurs just don't have enough firepower outside of Wembanyama to keep up, and their defensive struggles are a huge red flag. Indiana's offense is clicking, they're taking care of the ball, and they've been blowing teams out left and right. I think the Paris crowd will make it interesting, and Wembanyama might have a few highlight reel moments, but when it's all said and done, I see the Pacers walking away with the W.
Welcome to BetUS, Sportsbook and Casino, your ultimate hub for secure and thrilling sports betting and casino gaming. BetUS is one of the oldest and most reliable online sportsbooks in the U.S., serving millions of clients all over the globe each month. BetUS, trusted for over 30 years, offers huge welcome bonuses, countless betting options, and many deposit and payout methods. Depositing funds is a breeze and safe, with a minimum deposit of just $10. Payouts are fast and hassle-free, beginning at only $50. Choose from various payout options like MoneyGram, couriered check, cryptocurrency, or bank wire. Signing up is quick and easy. For signing up, you can use the link in the description and enjoy a generous 125% welcome bonus of up to $3,000. By signing up using the link in the description, you'll also support us as we earn a small commission from your registration at BetUS. Thank you for supporting us. Join now and start winning.
The second prediction for today is for a game between the Toronto Raptors and Atlanta Hawks. All right, let's break this one down. The Raptors are heading into Atlanta to face the Hawks, and honestly, this matchup has some layers to it. Toronto's been showing signs of life lately, mostly because of their defense tightening up. Over the last 4 games, they've held opponents to just over 105 points per game, which is impressive considering how up and down their season has been. Jakob Poeltl has been a monster in the paint, cleaning up the glass with 10.4 boards per game and protecting the rim with 1.2 blocks. And don't sleep on Scotty Barnes, he's been active defensively, leading the team with 1.5 steals a night. Defense has been their calling card in this recent stretch, and they're going to need that same energy to slow down the Hawks' high-octane offense. The problem with Toronto, though, is their offense. It's like a roller coaster, and not the fun kind. They're averaging 110.9 points a game, which isn't terrible, but their three-point shooting, that's been shaky at best, hovering around 34.6%. RJ Barrett and Scotty Barnes are putting in work, combining for just over 42 points per game, but the consistency across the board just isn't there. They've got balance, 7 guys averaging double figures, but it doesn't always translate when they're away from home. And speaking of road games, Toronto's been downright awful, with a 1-19 record. That's not just a slump, that's a straight-up red flag. On the other side, you've got Atlanta, a team that can light it up offensively, but couldn't stop a nosebleed defensively. They're putting up 117 points per game, which ranks them near the top of the league, and it all starts with Trae Young. He's the engine, averaging 23.3 points and a ridiculous 11.7 assists a game, best in the league. When he's cooking, the Hawks are tough to handle. Add Jalen Johnson and DeAndre Hunter to the mix, and you've got a couple of wings who know how to score and keep the offense flowing. Johnson's been a beast on the boards, too, averaging 10.3 rebounds a night. But here's the kicker. Atlanta's defense is an absolute mess. They're giving up 119 points a game, rank near the bottom in field goal percentage allowed, and can't defend the three-point line to save their lives. The last time these two squads faced off, Atlanta ran Toronto out of the gym with a 29-point blowout back in late December. Now, the Raptors are looking for payback, and this could be their chance. Atlanta's playing on the second night of a back-to-back after going against the Pistons, and that's always a tough spot, even for a team as offensively talented as the Hawks. Fatigue could be a factor, especially with Trae Young and Jalen Johnson dealing with some minor injuries. For Toronto to have a shot, they've got to stick to their script, grind it out defensively, crash the boards for second-chance opportunities, and move the ball to create high-percentage looks. If they can slow the pace and force Trae into tough shots, they'll keep this one close. But let's be real, Atlanta at home is a different beast. They've won their last 3 games in their building, and they've been lighting up the scoreboard. The Hawks have scored 120-plus points in their last 5 home games against the Raptors, and that trend feels like it's got legs. Personally, I'd lean toward Toronto covering this 7-point spread because Atlanta's coming off that back-to-back, and it's hard to trust their defense. But if we're talking about where to put your money, I'm looking at the total. I'd hammer the over in this one. Atlanta's offense is too good, and Toronto's defense, while improved, isn't built to stop a team that plays at this tempo. I fully expect the Hawks to drop at least 118 points, especially at home. It's just the way they've been rolling lately. Before we move on, I have a quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing might seem like a small action, but it actually makes a big impact for us. Plus, it's completely free for you. Have you clicked that subscribe button? Awesome, thank you so much for your support. Now let's dive back into the video. The third prediction for today is for a game between the Miami Heat and Milwaukee Bucks. All right, let's break this one down. The Miami Heat are heading to Milwaukee for another clash with the Bucks, and let's just say these two teams are in completely different headspaces right now. Miami's sitting at 500, ninth in the East, but they've been stumbling through a rough stretch. They've dropped 4 of their last 5, including a frustrating loss to the Trailblazers where they just couldn't keep up offensively. Meanwhile, Milwaukee is cruising, sitting in 4th place in the East and riding a 4-game winning streak. They've also won 7 of their last 8, so yeah, they're in a groove. Miami's season feels like it's been overshadowed by the whole Jimmy Butler trade drama. First, he gets suspended, then requests a trade, plays a few games, and gets suspended again. It's been chaos, and honestly, you can see how it's affecting the team. Without him in the lineup, the Heat just don't have that edge they're known for. Tyler Herro's stepped up big time, though. He's been their bright spot, putting up 24 points, 5.7 boards, and 5 dimes per game. If the Heat have any chance in this one, they'll need Herro to carry the load. Assuming he's good to go, he's listed as day-to-day right now. Nikola Jovic has been another bright spot, slowly fighting his rhythm with consistent double-digit scoring in his last 4 games. Kela Ware's also shown some flashes, especially with that 20-point, 15-rebound performance recently. Miami's experimenting with Bam Adebayo playing more as a forward, which could be interesting long-term, but it's clear they're still figuring things out. The problem is they don't have much margin for error, and they're walking into Milwaukee without Butler, possibly without Herro, and coming off a back-to-back. That's not exactly a recipe for success. Milwaukee, on the other hand, is looking dangerous. Giannis is doing Giannis things, nearly 29 points, 13 boards, and 6 assists over the last 10 games. The guy is just a force of nature, and when you pair him with Damian Lillard, you've got one of the most lethal duos in the league. Lillard's been consistently putting up points and running the offense, while Chris Middleton's return has given them another weapon, even if he's still shaking off some rust. The Bucks depth has also been a big plus. Guys like Bobby Portis, AJ Green, and even Andre Jackson Jr. have stepped in when needed, and this team hasn't missed a beat. Milwaukee's offense is clicking, ranking near the top of the league in 3-point shooting and field goal percentage. They play fast but smart, and they're careful with the ball, which makes them even harder to stop. Even their postponed game against the Pelicans earlier this week might work in their favor. They got an extra day to rest, and you know Giannis and the crew are going to come out fresh and ready to go. For Miami, the task is simple on paper but tough in reality: slow down Giannis. Without Butler, that responsibility falls on Bam, and while he's a great defender, it's asking a lot to contain someone as dominant as Giannis, especially when you've got Dame out there as a second option. Miami also needs to find ways to score. They're near the bottom of the league in made field goals, so they'll need to be aggressive, attack the paint, and get to the free throw line to keep things close. Milwaukee's just in a better spot right now. They've got momentum, they're at home, and they're well rested. Miami's dealing with all kinds of distractions and walking into this game off a back-to-back. It's hard to see them keeping up with the Bucks unless Herro has a monster game and they find a way to contain Giannis. But let's be real, that's a big ask. If you're looking at the betting line, I'm rolling with the Bucks to win and cover that 6.5-point spread. They've been dominant lately, and Miami just doesn't look like they're in a position to stop them. Milwaukee's got all the tools to keep their streak alive, and I fully expect them to handle business at home. In addition, what I'm locking in here is Tyler Herro to drop over 21 points. With Jimmy Butler out again, suspended, no less, and causing a storm of distractions with his spoiled little brother antics, I think Herro steps up big time. Butler's behavior has been a weight on this team, but it's also given Herro the green light to thrive. I'm putting my money on Herro to shine and hit that over on 21 points. The fourth prediction for today is for a game between the Sacramento Kings and Denver Nuggets. Alright, let's dive into this matchup. The Kings are rolling into Denver to take on the Nuggets, and this one has all the makings of a classic Western Conference showdown. You've got two teams packed with offensive firepower and a couple of superstars ready to take the spotlight. Nikola Jokic, the reigning MVP, is putting up video game numbers, basically a triple-double every night with 30.1 points, 13.2 boards, and 9.9 dimes per game. On the other side, De'Aaron Fox is doing his thing, slicing through defenses and dropping 25.9 points per game, making him one of the league's most dynamic guards. Sacramento has been hot lately. They've won 9 of their last 10 games, and that comeback against Golden State was proof of how dangerous this team can be. Down by 18, they fought their way back, with Sabonis dropping 26 points and grabbing 18 boards to lead the charge. Sabonis and Fox are a lethal 1-2 punch, and their chemistry is the backbone of this Kings squad. Sabonis, in particular, has been a monster in the paint, putting up double-doubles like it's just another day at the office. Denver, though, is a different beast, especially at home. They've been on a tear, winning 8 of their last 10 and looking like a team that's finally hitting its stride. Jokic, of course, is the engine that makes everything go. His recent triple-double against Philly, a cool 27 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists, was just another night for the Joker. And when he's got guys like Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray stepping up around him, the Nuggets become nearly impossible to stop. Plus, they've had a little extra rest coming into this one, which is always a big deal when you're playing at altitude in Denver. For the Kings, this is going to be an uphill battle. Playing on the second night of a back-to-back is tough enough, but doing it in Denver? That's brutal. The altitude alone can be a game changer, especially when you're coming off a high-energy game like the one they just had against the Warriors. They've managed to split their games in these scenarios this year, but this is easily their toughest test in that spot so far. The key for Sacramento is simple. They've got to find a way to slow down Jokic. That's obviously easier said than done, but Sabonis has had some success defending him in the past. The problem is, Jokic is so good at making his teammates better that, even if you contain him, he's still going to pick you apart with his passing. The Kings also need to keep up their offensive pace. Fox has to push the tempo, get into the paint, and make things happen. They can't afford to get bogged down in half-court sets, because that's where Denver's defense can lock in. For Denver, it's all about controlling the boards and keeping the pace to their liking. Jokic is going to do his thing, but if they can get contributions from guys like Porter Jr. and Murray, it's going to be tough for Sacramento to hang around. Denver's three-point shooting has been on point lately, and if they can keep hitting from deep, they'll put a ton of pressure on the Kings to keep up. This game feels like it's going to be a battle. Sacramento has been scrappy and resilient all season, and they're not going to roll over, even against a team as strong as Denver. That said, the Nuggets' rest advantage and home court edge are hard to ignore. While I think Denver takes the W, the Kings are playing too well to count out completely. Covering a 9-point spread feels very doable for them, even on a back-to-back. My money's on Sacramento to keep it close, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jokic makes the clutch plays to seal the deal late. The fifth prediction for today is for a game between the Chicago Bulls and Golden State Warriors. Alright, here's the deal. The Bulls are rolling into the Bay to take on the Warriors, and this matchup feels like a turning point for both teams. Chicago's coming off a much-needed win over the Clippers, snapping a 5-game skid, and they've got some momentum heading into this one. Zach LaVine was an absolute bucket in that game, dropping 35 points while attacking the rim like a man on a mission. When LaVine gets going like that, it's hard not to think the Bulls can hang with just about anyone. And let's not forget Nikola Vucevic, who's been on a tear lately. The dude just casually dropped 40 points on Charlotte not too long ago, and his work in the paint has been a stabilizing force for a team that desperately needs consistency. On the flip side, Golden State is limping into this one. They got absolutely cooked by the Celtics in their last outing, a 40-point beatdown that highlighted just how thin this roster has become. Steph Curry is still Steph, but even he can't do it all on his own. He's putting up solid numbers, but the supporting cast has been shaky at best. Andrew Wiggins has had some bright spots. He put up 25 in that Boston game, but outside of him and Steph, it's slim pickings. Injuries to Draymond Green and Jonathan Kuminga have left the Warriors' front court looking like a revolving door, and their bench production just hasn't been there. Chicago's got a shot to make some noise here. They've been sneaky decent on the road this season, which is wild considering how up and down they've been overall. Josh Giddey, who's been flirting with triple-doubles lately, adds another layer to their offense, and Patrick Williams is the kind of glue guy every team needs. He's versatile, he's tough, and he'll likely spend a lot of time chasing Curry around screens or locking up Wiggins. The Bulls have shown they can dominate the boards when they're locked in, and if they can keep the Warriors off the glass, they're going to make things tough. The Warriors, though, are always dangerous at home, even in their current state. It's the Steph Curry show, plain and simple, but they need more from guys like Dennis Schroeder, who hasn't been hitting his stride lately, and Tracy Jackson-Davis, who's shown flashes but hasn't been consistent. Ball movement and three-point shooting have always been Golden State's bread and butter, but without Draymond orchestrating the offense and with their wings struggling, it's been rough. They've got to take care of the ball, too. 19 turnovers against Sacramento is just brutal and not something you can afford against a team like Chicago that thrives on transition buckets. This game feels like it's going to be closer than people might think. The Warriors are on the second night of a back-to-back, and that's never ideal, especially after the beatdown they took against the Kings. Meanwhile, the Bulls are rested, they're coming off a solid win, and their key players are starting to heat up. Levine is a mismatch for just about anyone Golden State can throw at him, and Vucevic should have a field day against a depleted Warriors frontcourt. If Chicago can keep the pace up and hit their open looks, they've got a real shot to not just cover the spread, but maybe even steal this one outright. I'm riding with the Bulls to cover here. Golden State's been too inconsistent, and they're just too banged up to inspire confidence. Steph is going to do his thing, no doubt, but it's hard to see him carrying the entire load without more help. Chicago's got the energy, the matchups, and the momentum to make this a dogfight, so I'm taking the points and trusting the Bulls to keep it close in the Bay. The sixth prediction for today is for a game between the Boston Celtics and Los Angeles Lakers. Alright, let's dive into this matchup. The Celtics and Lakers, two of the NBA's most storied franchises, are set to square off in what should be another chapter of their heated rivalry. Boston comes in with a strong resume, but they're walking into a tough situation. Playing on the second night of a back-to-back after barely squeaking past a short-handed Clippers team in overtime isn't exactly ideal. Meanwhile, the Lakers have been chilling at home, waiting for this one, and they've got their stars ready to roll. It's setting up to be a battle. The Celtics are a force, no doubt about it. They've got weapons all over the court, and Jason Tatum is having another stellar season. He's been doing it all, scoring, rebounding, even playing solid defense. Last night, Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Derek White each dropped 20-plus points, and the team hit 19 threes against the Clippers. But here's the thing, they needed every bit of that to get past a Clippers squad missing Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Ivica Zubac, and Norman Powell. That's not exactly a good look for a team that's supposed to be a contender. The good news? Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, and Al Horford are all expected back tonight, which should give Boston a big boost. The bad news? They struggled against the spread after wins this season, sitting at an ugly 6-23-1. It's like they know how to win, but can't quite put teams away. On the Lakers side, it's all about rest and readiness. They crushed the Wizards 111-88 in their last game, and while Washington isn't exactly a powerhouse, it was a dominant performance. Anthony Davis is the guy to watch here. He's been a beast in his recent matchups against the Celtics, averaging 38.5 points and 12.5 boards in his last two home games against them. If AD gets rolling in the paint, Boston might have a hard time keeping him in check. The Lakers' biggest issue this season has been their defense in the paint. They're giving up over 51 points per game down low, one of the worst marks in the league. That's going to be a problem against a Celtics team that knows how to exploit weaknesses inside. LeBron James is listed as probable, and as usual, he'll be the glue that holds everything together. Even at this stage of his career, he's still making plays, running the offense, and keeping everyone involved. The key for the Lakers will be their role players stepping up. They can't just rely on LeBron and AD to carry the load. Guys like Roy Hachimura and Austin Reeves need to find ways to contribute on both ends of the floor. If the Lakers can stay active defensively and push the pace, they'll have a chance to catch Boston on tired legs. Boston's offense has been lights out lately, especially from deep. They've hit 39 threes over their last two games, and if they're knocking them down again tonight, the Lakers are going to have their hands full. But there's always that question with Boston, can they keep their foot on the gas? They've been inconsistent in closing games and have let teams hang around far too often. The Lakers are a team that can take advantage of that if given the chance. This one's a toss-up for me. The Celtics have the firepower and depth to win this game, no question. But the back-to-back factor and their struggles against the spread make me hesitate. On the flip side, the Lakers have the rest advantage, home court energy, and two superstars who can change the game at any moment. It's hard to count out a team with LeBron and AD, especially in a game like this where emotions and rivalry always play a role. I'm leaning toward the Lakers to cover the plus 5.5. They've got enough firepower and fresh legs to keep this one close, and if AD continues his dominance against Boston, I wouldn't be shocked to see LA sneak out with a win. It's going to come down to who controls the paint and who can execute in the clutch. Should be a fun one.